She's from Youngstown, Ohio. She's absolutely fabulous. And she's an author, I think several books. She's published books right in the back. That's a great book. For you leaders out there, you ought to be buying books for your team. How about that? I'm just saying, she didn't pay me to say that. I don't need nobody to say it. But we should be buying books to sow into people. That's what it's about. It's about sowing into a person who is an author, but more importantly, sowing into others that are under you. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't you stand to your feet and give a Chicago welcome to Youngstown favorite, DEANNA Rossi. Come on, y'all, let's give it
excited to share this time with all of you today. You know, I noticed after lunch, all of you are getting a little, that little sugared down, you're kind of hanging out. Okay, so we've got a few people that are sitting the right way. I need you to all do something for me. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories today. And when I tell you these stories, I need you to be ready to catch the point. So I played a little, all-star softball in my day. One of the things I was taught is you always have to be ready. So I want you all to move up in your seat a little bit. I want you to put your hands on your knees, okay? I want you to lean forward, lean in. By the way, this is totally creepy if you don't all do this, because then the person, like if you're leaning back and the person behind you is up, you ever been in church and that happens? And they got the kneelers. Some of you go to a church where they got kneelers and then somebody's kneeling and then the other person in front of you is not kneeling and you're like breathing on their neck. It's weird. So you all got to do it, okay? You all have to do it. You all have to be leaning forward. I want you to be ready to catch what I'm about to tell you. Because I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, and like I said, you've got to catch the point for you. Each of you is going to catch something a little bit different. Does that make sense? Yes. So, I wanted to tell you a story today about what inspired one of those books. You see, about a year and a half ago, I was getting on a plane, and I was on my way home. I was with my kids, I was with my husband, and we went on a little vacation. So we're headed home to Ohio, that's where I'm from. So thanks for having me, Chicago, because I just love it. This is home for me, let me tell you. I love coming here. Everyone in this room has been my home. But home is Ohio, and we were on our way home, and we were on a flight, and we had a connection through Nashville. So as we stop in Nashville, we're running a little late, and so we're hurrying up to make our connection. And as we come up to the line at Southwest, everybody's ready to get on the flight, and I see somebody I know. And I go over to them and I give them a hug and I say hi, and all of a sudden I only see half of this woman. And my vision crisscrosses. I said, whoa, what's going on here, right? And I said to my husband, I said, I need to sit down. I kind of stumble into the seat. And my kids get into the line and they get on the flight. And my husband's like, hey, what's going on? I said, I can't see straight. I'm a little dizzy. He's like, oh, you just haven't had enough to eat today. We'll get you a cookie on the plane. You all know people like this in life, right? Where there are two types of people in an emergency. You have one set of people that are like so crazy, right? And they freak out and they scream. And other people that are super calm, right? They are the calm in the storm. They're the people you want around in an emergency. Well, my husband's that way. I'm that way. So I didn't freak out. My husband just says, all right, babe, come on, hold my arm. I'll walk you on the plane. It'll be good. I'll get you a cookie. I said, all right, sounds good, babe. Let's do it. So we walk down the jetway, and as we're walking down the jetway, I'm like, that's interesting. Things are starting to tingle down the side of my face and on my arm, and so I give myself, and I can't see still. I only have half my vision, and it keeps flip-flopping. I'm like, something's not right. So I get onto the plane. Out of a good half of my vision, I see my kids, and I plop myself in a seat. We're the last ones on the plane. The plane starts to pull back right away. And as it pulls back, my husband says, babe, just close your eyes, just relax. As soon as she comes around with the cookie, I'll get you one, okay? Get you a Coke, it'll all be good. I'm like, all right, honey, sounds like a plan. So I close my eyes, and it's at that moment that I know I'm not making it off this plane. Because at that moment, all of a sudden, from my hair follicles down to my toenails, everything goes numb on one side. And then my hand claws up. You ever get a Charlie horse and your toes go over each other? Imagine that on 1,000 times. It happened to all my toes and all my fingers, all on one side of my body. And I'm sitting on the plane, and it's as it's going up in the air, this is happening to me. And I tapped my husband. I said, hey, babe, I'm not okay. And he says, what are you talking about? You're not slurring your speech. You're not, babe, you're fine. You're talking to me. I said, I can't see, and look at what's happening. He's like, just close your eyes and relax. What are we going to do? And I said, well, babe, I'm kind of having a TIA event. He goes, we stopped this plane. It's an FAA event. I go, both of them were pretty bad. I said, what? Okay, he made a good assessment. That flight was only going to be about 45 minutes. He says, it's going to take longer to land. I said, yeah, but I can't just sit here and do nothing. Ironically, in my purse, I had some aspirin. There's more to that story, but I had some aspirin that I had picked up in the airport just a little bit earlier. Something whispered to me that I needed aspirin when I was getting my kids chips and pop. And I had it in my purse, and I took that aspirin. By the time we landed, I was able to walk off the plane with his assistance, because I still couldn't see. We called the doctor, go into the hospital, and when we get there, do we have my PowerPoint? So when we get there, let me know if it's there. When we get, go to the next one. Do I have a clicker? No, but that's okay. When we get there, they do a scan of my head, and they said, see this right here? You just had a huge stroke. It was over 2 inches large. 43 years old, no reason to have a stroke. And my husband said, well, it's like a mini stroke, right? I go, no, it's a big stroke, man. Right? Because he's always so calm. And he says, what? But, and they said, listen, it had to be that aspirin that she took. They said, because we can't figure out how she's talking to us, how she's not more debilitated, how she's not dead. And I sat there and I said, wow, thank you, Lord, for what you have just done. But I also then had to recover because I still didn't have my vision. So the next few weeks, I'm laying in a dark room because every piece of light would kill my head. Show the next slide, please. I had to get my vision test done, and out of both eyes, this is my right, that's my left eye, both eyes is missing a quadrant of its vision, even after recovery. So even to this day, if you're on that side of the room, I don't see you. But that's okay, right? So I still got 3/4 of my vision. But I was sitting there in this recovery, and I'm laying in bed, and I have this immense headache, because I just had a brain trauma, right? So imagine the worst headache you've ever had, and I'm laying in bed in a dark room. And you know what I started to think about? I didn't want to let myself crawl into sorrow. And I started to think about Jeff Levitan, Greg Kaplan, some of the great entrepreneurs all of us have had the chance to be mentored by. And I remember all the things that they've said to me over the years. I remembered some of the things that I've said to others. And I started telling myself those things. And so what I did is I put my phone on talk to text. And I started telling all those stories to myself. All those stories to myself became that book. It's called No Justificuses. So no justificuses means no justifications and no excuses. In our office, we would always blend that together. We said no justificuses. When somebody would make an excuse or a justification, we would tell them, no justificuses. You can't say that. And that became that book. Now, interestingly, I've recovered well, as you can tell. I still am missing a portion of my vision, but that's okay. And that book went to #1 bestseller in multiple categories on Amazon. Thank you. Now, I say that not so much to impress you, but to impress upon you. Sometimes you giggle with that phrase, right? But to impress upon you that whatever the adversity is that you're facing, it's all about how you look at it. So maybe it's a health adversity. Maybe it's an adversity in a relationship. Maybe it's an adversity that you're having in your business. Maybe you feel like you have something that is really hard for you to overcome. I want you to remember that on the other side of uncomfortable is everything you ever wanted, right? I think about the dog and the electric fence. How those electric fences work with those dogs is they have a collar on, and as they get close to the little line where the electric cord is buried, it gives them a little buzz. It makes them uncomfortable. So after a while, the dog won't go to that point. It won't cross that point where it is feeling uncomfortable. Now, what the dog doesn't know is that if it ran past that point of uncomfortable, on the other side is everything it ever wanted. All the freedom in the world. We do that as humans as well. That's not just dog nature, it's human nature. So many people, as soon as they get uncomfortable, they retract back to comfortable. Instead of saying, let me just push through a little bit more. And on the other side is everything you ever wanted. So I encourage you to figure out whatever that adversity is, whatever it is in your life that's making you uncomfortable and makes you take that step back. I want you to run 10 steps forward and jump over that line of uncomfortable and go get whatever it is that you ever wanted. Does that sound like a good deal? Yeah. Can we all do that today? I want you to identify exactly what it is that you're looking for. I want you to go after it no matter what level of uncomfortable you have. Now, we're going to put on the next slide. We're going to wrap up here. It went fast, we know that. Next one, I need a clicker. All right, scan that QR code. Everybody should be on your knees still. You should be ready, right? Grab your phones and scan that QR code. That QR code, there's only a few books left in the back, so the next few of you that come back there will be able to get you a couple of the books. There's only a few left. But you can also order it on Amazon, right on that QR code. The top link will take you to Amazon to be able to purchase that, as well as be able to connect on some of the other information about No Justificuses, all the great things that are coming up. And I just want to let you know that everybody in this room, you are the ones that inspire me. A lot of the stories and a lot of what you'll read in that book has a lot to do with a lot of people in this room. And just the incredible human beings that we get to surround ourselves with every day. You are all blessed. You have all blessed me. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Thanks, everyone.